Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks as always for taking time out of your day to watch the content. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today. So before we get into these topics, do me a favor, if you do end up enjoying this video or finding it informative, make sure you leave it a like. And if you are new here to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. The first topic we're discussing has to do with the June PlayStation Plus lineup, or the PlayStation Plus Essential games that we can look forward to. This was revealed by multiple leakers who have been correct on a monthly basis. So there's no doubt that these three games we're looking at are in fact what we're going to be getting. We just need the official confirmation from Sony probably tomorrow. But those three games are God of War 2018, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, and Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker. Now, what's interesting about this lineup is the conversation that the inclusion of God of War 2018 has created. So the first thing that I want to mention is that it seems fairly obvious, in my opinion, that this is a clear sign from Sony and from Santa Monica Studio that the marketing for God of War Ragnarok is ramping up and it's about to begin. I say this because, I mean, it makes sense. Why else would they want to include God of War 2018 in the PlayStation Plus games lineup? Well, it's because they want people to start talking about God of War. They want God of War to kind of be in the headlines, and more importantly, they want as many people as possible to get their hands on this game and to play this masterpiece before the sequel comes out. And to me, it just seems clear that that's why it's being included in June. Now, the reason why I'm putting emphasis on this is because I came across an interesting write-up over on Push Square where they say PlayStation Plus members bemused by potential God of War inclusion across multiple tiers. They say here Sony Santa Monica's stunning 2018 series revamp of God of War is almost certainly part of the PlayStation Plus Essential lineup for June 2022, with confirmation now coming from two separate and historically reliable sources. While this rumor has been met warmly by fans waiting patiently for God of War Ragnarok, many believe the original's giveaway signals the start of PlayStation's marketing campaign for the hotly anticipated sequel. It's left some subscribers scratching their heads. The Japanese giant already announced that God of War will be part of the new subscription tiers for PS Plus Extra and PS Plus Premium, making its inclusion with PS Plus Essential a lot less valuable to those paying up for the top tier. In addition, the game is also included with the PlayStation Plus collection for PS5 owners and has been part of the PS Now selection for quite some time. While the latter will become defunct in the coming weeks, it means the title is effectively set to be part of every single subscription Sony offers. Now, while we still need to wait for the official confirmation of God of War's inclusion, it's looking like a lock, and considering this is set to be the first month of Sony's revamped service, it raises interesting questions. Just how much crossover will there be between PlayStation Plus Essential and PS Plus Extra, and indeed PlayStation Plus Premium moving forwards? Historically, there was a lot of crossover between PS Plus and PS Now, but Sony was able to justify it on the basis of them being distinct services. That's not the case with the new PS Plus. It's an interesting situation and equally fascinating that this question appears set to rear its head in the very first month of the revamped PS Plus launch. And I wanted to mention this because I did notice that while there are quite a few people like myself who are excited to see God of War's inclusion with PlayStation Plus for June because it signals the marketing is about to kick off, there are a lot of people who are feeling a little bit nervous and hesitant that, this is potentially a bad sign for the monthly games lineup. Now, I'm not going to jump to any conclusions as of right now. The way I'm going to view it is this is just them trying to send a signal to let everybody know that, hey, we're going to be talking about God of War this summer, and we want the focus on Kratos and Atreus. That's kind of what I'm getting from this, but you guys let me know your thoughts about that down below. We're moving on to the next topic, which is a pretty unexpected one. Today, over on the official PlayStation Twitter account, they say we're 2 days away from a brand new state of play. Settle in for just under 30 minutes of exciting updates starting at 3 p.m. PT, and they have a little video clip here that's about 13 seconds, kind of showing just some cool PlayStation animation in the background, letting us know about the state of play. But the thing that everybody noticed is that there's also the Summer Game Fest logo in the top left, which means that State of Play, the one we're getting on June 2nd, is officially now part of Summer Game Fest. And, this is, I think, interesting at the very least, because as far as I'm aware, Sony has never done something like this before, and it's creating a lot of speculation. And it seems like there are some people who are raising their expectations for the State of Play because it's going to be part of Summer Game Fest. Well, the first thing I want to mention here is I think people should not view this as something major, as in like, well, this suddenly means that the State of Play is going to be way better and have bigger announcements than what we previously thought. I do not think that is what this indicates. But what it does indicate is that PlayStation is going to be part of Summer Game Fest. The big question I have with this is, since Sony is considering their State of Play as part of Summer Game Fest, does this mean that when we tune into the June 9th Summer Game Fest show, that PlayStation's not really going to be a part of it because this is how they are technically including themselves? That's what I find interesting about this. I think that people are, no matter what, going to have high expectations for PlayStation in June, no matter what they do, whether that's at this upcoming State of Play or whether it's part of the actual Summer Game Fest show. People are going to have high expectations, and I'm already seeing the things that people are wishing for, that they're hoping for. And again, I'm not trying to take away anybody's excitement, but, just for the sake of not ending up disappointed, I would recommend keeping your expectations not necessarily low, because I feel like that's just not fun for anybody, but keep them in check, right? Like, don't expect anything major or huge. I just don't think that's what's going to happen. But nonetheless, I just wanted to let you guys know about this because apparently the State of Play is now officially a part of Summer Game Fest. Moving on to the next topic, we have a new report regarding PlayStation VR 2. The title of this report says PSVR 2 mass production will start in the second half of 2022 with initial target of 1.5 million units. So it says here, Ming-Chi Kyo, hopefully I'm saying their name correctly, a Taiwan-based analyst at TF International Securities Group, claims to have heard from his supply chain sources that PSVR 2 will enter mass production in the second half of 2022, and he expects a release window of Q1 2023. Although it makes sense to assume that Sony might want to release PlayStation VR 2 during the holiday period, we've heard at least twice before that a Q1 2023 release for the device is more likely. The first report came from the individuals behind YouTube channel PSVR Without Parole, who have a good track record. The second report came from a market analyst who claimed that both PSVR 2 and Apple's VR headsets were pushed into 2023. In addition to lending credence to previous reports, Kyo further claimed that Sony has an initial target of shipping 1.5 million units, which indicates that the company is very confident about PSVR 2. Selling 1.5 million units in the launch period is an ambitious target, considering the original PSVR sold 1 million units around the 8-month mark. However, VR was still considered a novelty at the time, and it was Sony's first major commercial foray into the VR space. So at this point in time, guys, it's looking highly likely that PlayStation VR 2 is targeting a Q1 2023 launch, which I don't think will come off as a big surprise to anybody. Not only is this not the first time we're hearing about it, but Sony has been a little bit more quiet about PSVR 2 than I think you would expect if they were going to release it this year. We do know we're going to be getting our first look at some PlayStation VR 2 launch titles or games that are in development for it, and Sony did confirm that they have about 20 launch titles that they plan to release alongside this headset from both first and third party. So yeah, Sony has high expectations for this. My only fear with PlayStation VR 2 is how difficult it's going to be to acquire one. We know that it's a situation where a lot of people are going to be going after it. There's no doubt in my mind that these 1.5 million units are going to sell out instantly. So I'm going to try my best to secure a unit, and you guys can let me know down below if you plan to try and secure a unit as well. The final topic I have for you talks about something relating to Xbox, but it has to do with a game that was reportedly going to be exclusive to Xbox or to the Microsoft platform and not come to PlayStation, but now we're hearing reports that apparently that's not the case. It is actually going to come to PlayStation. That is the new Indiana Jones game by Machine Games, it will reportedly not be an Xbox console exclusive, according to Windows Central's Jez Corden. So this information actually comes from the Xbox 2 podcast, and it says here, reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, that during the podcast, in response to a fan remark about the Indiana Jones game not being exclusive, Corden confidently confirms that this is indeed true, saying, "I pretty much know it isn't an Xbox exclusive." When the other podcast host, Randall Thor 19, challenges him on the assertion, believing that his friend has waffled on this point before, Corden remains firm and replies that the only information I've had about Indiana Jones is that it wasn't exclusive. However, he quickly explains with the follow-up that that was a long time ago, maybe something has changed. Since then, in response to a fan revealing what he said on Twitter, Corden has replied with a clarification. "Last year I heard, and plans may have changed, but I don't expect that they have." So I wanted to report on this and let you guys know, because I think many of us were under the assumption that this Indiana Jones game that's in development at Bethesda, at Machine Games, was going to be exclusive, and it still could be, but I also kind of thought to myself, you know, it would make sense if it wasn't necessarily exclusive, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, this deal between Bethesda and Lucasfilm for an Indiana Jones game was struck before Microsoft had acquired them. So if that's the case, I mean, yeah, it's likely that the contract or the deal was for this game to be multi-platform. Now, there is always the possibility that, Microsoft could have intervened and said, look, we would like to make this exclusive, and maybe they renegotiate something with Lucasfilm. But, this is what we're hearing from Jez Corden. We know that Jez Corden has a lot of sources when it comes to Microsoft-related stuff or Xbox-related stuff. So, yeah, we'll have to continue to wait and see. I do hope we see this game at the upcoming Xbox showcase, because I'm really interested to see how it turns out. I mean, the idea of Machine Games making an Indiana Jones game, it's interesting, right? It's interesting because I don't really know what to expect. And so on top of that, it will be interesting to learn about whether or not it's going to come to PlayStation. But this is the latest we're hearing. And so that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. If you did, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.